Hey, it's me Shane, Gemini Garage, and today we are going to talk about antenna switches. And these are really useful. They're really cool. Not only can you use them from transitioning from one antenna to the other, but you can also flip them backwards. And if you maybe got one antenna and you're trying multiple radios, you can hook up multiple radios to one antenna as well. So there's a lot of different kinds of these. They've been around for a long time. Some of these designs have been around for quite a long time. This one here is an old one. It's kind of what you almost call, I guess, more like a base station antenna switch, because it's got all the different selectors on it for horizontal, vertical, etc. And then these here are just more of simple style. They've been making these kind forever. Here, as you can see, these are two totally different manufacturers, but they're basically the same thing. Although the quality is not the same, so we'll get into that. But I'm going to get myself organized here, and then when I come back, we're going to go over some of the basic types of these, and then we're going to open some of these up and see what's inside of them and what's good, what's bad, and we'll go from there. So stick with me. Okay, I'm back, and I'm just going to talk a little bit more about all the different styles of these again. This one here, like I said, this is a bigger, boxier one. This is an older one, but you can still get them, that are like this. MFJ make them, and some other places make them. They're basically the same thing. They're kind of nice if you've got a beam. These are just kind of A or B or C or whatever the markings is. This gives you, actual a labeling on there: vertical, horizontal, standby, etc. So these are really cool. Up to 4 antennas on this one here. You can get these things in crazy amounts of antennas, you know what I mean? Like, you can just get these things up, 5, 6, 7, 8 antennas. If a person was crafty enough, you could make your own. You really just need, a bunch of these things in some kind of a block, with some toggle switches kind of turning them on and off, but for the ones you're going to buy, these are kind of going to be your options. These things here, this particular style here, you'll notice these things are pretty much the same. This one here is a Workman brand here, and I can tell you these just do not have the quality in them that these do. You can just tell by the way these switches operate. That one's very clicky, very tactile, if you will. This one here, just really spongy and just not very clicky and just not very springy, and just kind of, I had one of these before, and it was kind of a nightmare, and I don't know what I think I ended up getting PO'd at it and threw it in the garbage. These, I've had a couple of these. I got another one of these. These are really nice. These are the Daiwa ones, and there's a couple of other manufacturers I'll try and put up on the screen that make these things. Jetstream, I think, is one of them. Now, some of these manufacturers don't make these anymore, and some still do. The Workman, I believe, still currently make them. The Daiwa, I believe, still currently make them. Then there's also a version of this where the mounting bracket holes are not on the 45s on the sides right here, but they're up here. So there's nothing right here, and then kind of up here, there's like the holes, little wings that come off here. And I'll try and put a picture of that up there. So kind of the same thing. You got different people, different manufacturers, companies that make that. As I said before, I think it's one of those things you could just kind of buy the blanks of these things, and different variations of people putting their own guts in here as to whether or not they're quality or not. Like I said, we're going to take some of these apart, check them out, and see what's going on inside. As I said before, these are just 2 to 1 or 1 to 2, depending on how you want to do it. Like, if you had one antenna hooked up here, you could have 2 radios hooked up and toggle back and forth between the radios. Or if you didn't want to use it that way, you could flip it around and have one radio going to 2 antennas. And you can use different combinations of these things too if you want to. You need to make sure you are paying attention to what you're doing, because you don't want to screw something up. You get too many of these things in line and you don't know which switch is which. But other than that, they're pretty cool. This one here is got 3 on it. And these things here run maybe around, if you can find them, anywhere between 30 and 60 bucks. It's kind of just varies. These, like I said, I don't like the quality of these as much. These here, if you shop, you can find these for around 30 to 35 bucks. And these work pretty good. You get, 3 antennas or 3, radios, however you want to, hook it up. Pretty clicky tactile switch. Haven't had any problems with this. I've got a couple of other ones of these I've been using for a while now, and I haven't had any problems with it. So pretty good on the Opec here. I think Opec makes maybe some of kinds of like these other ones too. Like I said, all these different manufacturers make all different kinds of these things. So, and they've been making them for a long time, so that makes it even more confusing. So the bottom line is just, if you're not exactly sure what you're getting, just get one of them, and if you like it, then you know that's a good brand. If not, then you might have to keep hunting. But for the most part, I'll try and put the ones up on the screen that seem to be the higher quality ones. Like I said, these for sure have been really good. These Opec ones here have been really good. Pretty much any of the older stuff like this, or anything that's boxed like this stuff that you can get, if it's in good condition, most of these things are made halfway decent. The power rating on all of these here, I believe, is 1,000 watts. That's about what you're going to find on most antenna switches like this, is around 1,000 to 1,500 watts. That's just kind of what they're rated at. Some circumstances maybe not as much, and other circumstances they might be good for more, but that's just kind of generally what they're rated at. I think this one here, let's see if it says on here someplace, right on here. Yeah, DC to 200 megahertz, 1 kilowatt, and 200 to 500 megahertz, if you're using it for that, is 500 watts PET. And all of these are PL239, so they're meant to use with PL259 HF type equipment. So with that, I'm going to grab a couple of screwdrivers, and we're going to pop a couple of these things apart and see what we got going on inside. So stick with me. Okay, let's do this box one first here. Okay, so this is an SCP, and I believe this thing is so old it was actually made in America, so this thing's been around for a long time. So we'll see how. Oh, yeah, it's been around so long. It's got slot head screws to take it apart, so there you go. That's one way of dating equipment, is if it's got the flat head screws in it, then you know that it's probably got a couple years on it. Quite a bit of stuff when I was a kid still had slot head screws. I think they kind of started getting away from the slot head stuff sometime in the 70s, and mid to later 70s, the 80s. This thing just kind of comes apart like a radio or an amplifier or anything else. Now see what we got in here. You've got each one of your antenna jacks here going to a hot wire to your switch here. And then of course the whole thing is just grounded, the box itself, because the box is metal. And then you've got a little cap here, it looks like, a disc capacitor for your input. So, yeah, there you go. Hopefully you can get a good view of that in there. So that's what this guy looks like inside. And again, you can, that's one nice thing about something like this, you can find it in good shape. There's not a whole lot that's going to go wrong with it. I mean, you could always put a little bit of contact cleaner in there on that switch, just to make sure you're not going to have any problems with that. But otherwise, I think you're pretty safe with some of these old boxes here. I don't think there's a whole lot that's going to go wrong with them. Okay. Okay, so we got this one back together here. Let's check this one out here and see what we got going inside here. We're going to have to switch back to our Phillips bit here. Fix my battery there. Okay, so this thing comes apart. This thing's got screws all over. Okay, let's see. I don't need to take those apart. I'm trying to figure out how many screws I have to take this thing apart. I probably already didn't need to take those two out. And you know, I'm using a manual screwdriver instead of a power driver, so that's going to make it take longer. I'm sure I'll try and speed some of this up. Almost there, honest engine. Oh, probably can't say that. Okay. Okay, so that's what we got there. We got all of our little jacks right here. 3 separate wires from them going to the switch here, and on the output of the switch you've got one of these here. So, and I do not see any kind of capacitor or resistor, or I see absolutely nothing in here except for these 239 jacks and the rotary switch and the wiring. So pretty simple switch here. And these 2 screws here, like I said, hold this, I don't know if I've got one in the box here. There's a little plate right here that goes onto the back here on the top and on the bottom. 2 little plates in here so that if you need to bolt this back to something. I'm just going to throw these 2 screws in right quick just so I don't lose them. Okay, so now let's take this one here apart. Let's see. Basically got, I don't know if it's 2 screws or 3. We've got 3 on the back, but I don't know if this, I guess this 3rd one probably comes out too. And again, this thing has these 2 kind of ears on it right here, and then this little tab on the back that flips up here. So it's for a 3rd mounting spot if you need it. This one's the same way. Okay. Note to self, get another cordless drill driver. This is one of those things where you don't really need the drill. You just want the smaller driver, you know what I mean? That's good enough. Now the last one of these I had, it was basically just almost like a pair of breaker points, contact points in there, and they weren't the highest quality. So let's see what we got going on in here. Okay, and there we go. Yeah, that's just like basically a pair of breaker contact points in there. You can see this springy thing here and this like a contact right there. And this switch, just flip it that way and it pushes this contact, or yeah, you twist it this way and it lets this spring of this contact rest on here and pushes that one away, and then when you turn it this way it does the opposite. So and I'm guessing there's like some kind of a little ball or something in here, a deton in here to make this thing click back and forth, but it's not very tactile, and like I said, this one just is really kind of sloppy, so I don't know. So anyways, let's take this one apart here and see what the difference is in the quality of this one here. This one's got a quality control sticker on it here. This one also has a little bit of glue. Let's see here. Hold on. Okay, this one here also has some glue, looks like on one of these screws here to kind of keep from getting it off of there. And it's got a quality control sticker on here we're going to have to scrape off. Okay. Alright. So I expect to see the same kind of mechanism in here, but just somehow a higher quality, better quality. Okay, so this one here, it looks like we got a different kind of, this is like a pot metal kind of thing here, and while this probably is too, it looks like it's got more like a brass coating on it here. Everything in here looks like it's kind of a higher quality. Hold on just a second, let me... Okay, again, I just wanted to check the camera and zoom in a little bit here on this here. Once again, we've got these two different ones here. And like I said, this one clearly just is a higher quality one. It just, you can tell that by just moving the knob around how it feels. And again, this one here was a pretty decent quality here too. I didn't have any complaints or problems with this one. Of course, you've got a couple of different philosophies going on here. This one here has more like kind of what this has in it, which, this one has a rotary switch with a bunch of wires going to it, and that's how this one is here, which I suppose most of your multiple antenna ones are probably like that if there's more than two. But your two ones that just have two ports for two antennas, the 1 into 2, are probably like this. And like I said, there's several different manufacturers of these. This one here, this is the... it's the Workman one, CS201, but they all say CS201 on it because it's all basically the same housing, but the black Workman CS201 just does not seem like it works as well as these other ones, which I've got use lots of Workman stuff. They make great stuff, no complaints about their stuff generally speaking, but it's just not nearly a tactile switch as this one here. So for what it's worth, there you go. And that's, again, why it's kind of important to check these things out and kind of know what's what, because it's, like I said, these things aren't cheap. You don't want to spend, this one here was more expensive than this one here. But I wanted to get this one here, to be able to, show you and kind of prove a point that there is a difference in the quality of these things, and they are not all the same. The ones that are made by Daiwa here, I know these are good. They also, I think Jetstream made them. I don't know if they currently do, but I know, like I said, if you look on eBay, you can find these used in all different, manufacturers. So, like I said, these CS201 by the Workman seem to be the ones that are the crappy ones. And they're the only ones I think that are black. The rest of them I think are some shade of bluish or green. And I think they're okay. But once again, buyer beware. You'll just kind of have to see. And if you have any problems, I'm sure at least you can take these things apart, open them up, and figure out what's going on with them at least. So they've got that going for them. All of them seem to. So good on that. At least you can take them apart if you need to. So all right, with that, I'm going to clean up my mess here a little bit and kind of wrap this up. I didn't want to take a too long of a time and spend I really didn't want to get into like a recommending certain brands or certain styles. I just kind of wanted to show how they work and kind of which ones to sort of watch out for, and sort of how they're made inside, like for example these being this kind of a switch and these having an actual switch in them, so rotary switch. Okay, well, there you go. I hope you learned something, and it's kind of interesting to see how some of these things work inside. And if you get a used one of these, make sure you take it apart, on the inside, and look in the back and make sure it doesn't have any corrosion, because even though the switch might be good, it still might be kind of dirty. I noticed just by taking this one apart here and flipping it over and sitting it on my mat here, it just kind of has some crud there that fell out because this is an older used one that I bought. Looks new, but it's an older one, so it had a little bit of a, just a little bit of crusty stuff inside of there, just some dust and dirt that kind of fell out of there. So make sure you're, pay note of that. If you get these that are used, any of this stuff used, make sure you, put some contact cleaner in there and check it out and make sure it's, working like it's supposed to. So with that, thanks again for watching, and click the like and subscribe if you learned anything, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Shane, Gemini Garage.